While history was being made in Washington, nobody expected Marjorie Taylor Greene to fall into such a massive contradiction. But on October 17th, during that critical session in the House of Representatives, everything changed. Greene's vote on the big budget bill that directly affected her own constituents created shockwaves not just in political circles, but among her voters in Georgia. But what about the documents in Jasmine Crockett's hands? Documents that would reveal the real motivations behind Greene's surprising vote reversal. But let's start this story from that night. The atmosphere in the House chamber was electric. It was past midnight and the America's Future Budget Act, what constituents called the Big and Ugly Bill, was about to be voted on. This 847-page legal monster contained cuts that would deeply affect rural areas, 30% reduction in farmer subsidies, funding cuts for rural health centers, and most critically, complete elimination of unemployment benefits for textile workers in Georgia's 14th District. Marjorie Taylor Greene had been someone who opposed such legislation until that point, known as the voice of the people. She had said just 3 weeks earlier, "I will never abandon the working families of my Georgia." But now asterisk, but there was someone in the chamber that night who wasn't just watching Greene's sudden change, but recording it. Jasmine Crockett sat in row 23 with her blue folder. The documents inside this folder would change everything 2 hours later. But what was in those documents? And how had they influenced Greene's voting decision? It was at this exact moment that Greene stood up. Asterisk. "Honorable Speaker," Greene began, her voice unusually shaky, I support this legislation." The chamber immediately fell silent. Democrats looked shocked. Republicans exchanged uncomfortable glances. Greene had voted against everything she had promised in her own election campaign. But Jasmine Crockett made a note on her phone at that moment. 22:47 MTG's vote change. Timing very interesting. Why interesting? Because in Crockett's blue folder was a photograph taken exactly 16 hours earlier. Greene in the VIP lounge of a private club in Georgetown, with several lobbyists at ND. Wait, let's not reveal this part yet. First, let's understand what happened. In the 24 hours after the vote, Greene's office received 3,247 phone calls. 87% were angry constituents. Sharon Miller from Rome, Georgia. "I never thought our representative would sell us out like this. My husband worked in the textile factory for 30 years. What will we do if unemployment benefits are cut?" Mike Henderson from Dalton. "I voted for Greene because she said she would stand against Washington's elite. Now we learn she's one of them." But what was truly interesting was Greene's response to these reactions. Instead of standard political defense, she was taking an almost aggressive stance. "People criticizing me don't see the big picture. I made the right decision for Georgia, the big picture." The documents in Jasmine Crockett's hands showed that big picture was actually much smaller and more personal. Jasmine Crockett, as a former legal counsel, was skilled at noticing abnormal behavior patterns. Greene's sudden change seemed suspicious to her, and she began investigating. The first clue was that photograph from Georgetown Club, but the real bombshell came from information Crockett received from media analyst Sarah Chun. When Chun analyzed social media data, she found a surprising pattern. "Jasmine, look at this." Activity on Greene's Twitter account. Chun turned her screen. From 9:30 p.m. to 10:15 p.m. on October 16th, no tweets. But we know she normally posts 3 to 4 tweets per hour. This 45-minute silence ends exactly 30 minutes before the vote. 45 minutes. Exactly the duration of that meeting at Georgetown Club. Crockett took a deep breath. "Sarah, can you access the guest list for that club that night?" "Already did." Chun smiled. "And there are very interesting names on the list." So who was on that list? And what could their connection be to Greene's vote change? This is where Crockett's story gets truly interesting. Because that list didn't just contain lobbyists ... in Crockett's office that Tuesday morning. The documents Chen brought were spread across the table. Georgetown Club's guest list, credit card records, and, most critically, time-stamped photographs from the club's security camera footage. Seeing Greene in the photographs wasn't surprising. But the names sitting beside her? Thomas Brennan, Crockett pointed to the photo. Chief lobbyist for Megacorp Industries. This company would benefit most from eliminating textile workers' unemployment rights. Chun showed another photograph. And this is Victoria Sterling. She represents Patterson Holdings. Patterson Holdings is the company waiting to buy the land of those textile factories in Georgia. But the truly shocking part was the third photograph. And this... Crockett's voice lowered. This is Marcus Webb, who manages Greene's own campaign financing. The picture was becoming clear. Greene's sudden vote change wasn't coincidental. This was a pre-planned deal. Asterisk asterisk, as Crockett deepened her investigation, the tableau before her became even uglier. In Webb's campaign records, there were abnormally large transfers exactly 48 hours before the vote. Banking records found by Sarah Chen showed October 15, $340,000 transfer from Patterson Holdings to Webb. October 15th, $280,000. Transfer from Megacorp Industries to Webb. October 16th, $500,000 transfer from Webb to Greene's campaign committee. The money flow was crystal clear, but for Crockett, what mattered most was the timing. Sarah, look at this. Can we pinpoint exactly when Greene decided to change her vote? Chun looked at her tablet. According to security camera footage, Greene entered Georgetown Club at 9:32 p.m. She left at 10:17 p.m., and at exactly 10:19 p.m., she's seen talking on the phone in the House chamber. Something occurred to Crockett. Is there a record of that phone conversation? Officially no, but... double quotes, but... Chung gave a secretive smile. Press microphones in the House chamber sometimes record nearby conversations too. One of our sound technicians detected an abnormal frequency that night. In Crockett's office, listening to that audio recording, the final piece of the story fell into place. Despite the low quality, it was possible to recognize Greene's voice. Understood. Yes, I understand. Okay, so we'll do it this way. No, it won't be a problem. Voters will understand. When will the money? Good, okay. The conversation lasted 1 minute and 34 seconds. And exactly 11 minutes later, Greene had changed her vote. Crockett now had all the evidence of Greene's hypocrisy. But she needed to think strategically about how to use this information. Asterisk asterisk, Crockett had encountered such situations before. During her legal counsel days, she had seen how the powerful exploited the weak. But this time, she wasn't protecting just one client, but thousands of innocent voters. Her strategy had 3 phases. Phase 1. Present the evidence not to the media, but directly to Greene. Give her a chance to explain. Phase 2. If Greene refused to explain, bring the matter to the House floor. Phase 3. Measure public reaction and, if necessary, demand the establishment of an investigative committee. But Crockett had a bigger plan in mind. This might not just be Greene's individual pursuit of self-interest, but an indicator of a systemic problem. Asterisk asterisk, Wednesday morning, Crockett called Greene's office. Her request for a meeting was politely declined by Greene's staff. On the second call, Greene herself answered. Jasmine, what do you want? Greene's voice was tense. Marjorie, we need to discuss a very important matter. About that meeting at Georgetown Club? A long silence came from the other end of the phone. What? What meeting are you talking about? Crockett had noticed the panic in Greene's voice. October 16th evening, around 9:30 p.m. Ring a bell? I didn't have any private meetings that night. Marjorie, I have photographs. Webb, Brennan, Sterling, they were all there. And you? Another long silence. Jasmine, what do you want? You owe your constituents an explanation. Why you changed your vote. Why you did the opposite of everything you promised. This was my personal decision. A personal decision worth $620,000? The phone hung up. When Greene refused to provide an explanation, Crockett activated the second phase of her strategy. Thursday, during the House's daily session, she took the floor. Honorable Speaker, Crockett stood up, holding her blue folder. Today, I want to bring up a very important matter. About the interesting developments in the voting process of one of our representative colleagues. The chamber became attentive. Greene shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Last week, during the vote on the America's Future Budget Act, a colleague experienced a very dramatic change of mind. This change occurred in a way that would directly affect their own constituents. Crockett pulled out the first document from her folder. I have documents showing the motivations behind this vote change. Money transfers, secret meetings, and most critically, a phone conversation made just 30 minutes before the vote. Greene jumped up. I object. This is slander. Crockett maintained her composure. Representative Greene, if these are slander, then can you provide answers to these questions? Crockett raised the first document. On October 16th, from 9:30 p.m. to 10:17 p.m., what were you doing at Georgetown Club? Greene didn't respond. Second question. Why was $620,000 transferred to your campaign finance manager? Marcus Webb 48 hours before the vote? The chamber filled with murmurs. Third question. What topics did you discuss with Thomas Brennan and Victoria Sterling?
And is there any connection between these discussions and your vote decision?
Greene's lawyer tried to intervene. These accusations are completely... But Crockett cut him off. I'm not making accusations. I'm simply requesting transparency. Representative Greene's constituents have the right to know why their representative did the opposite of everything she promised. At that moment, Crockett played her final card. And finally, Crockett raised the transcript of the audio recording. The phone conversation made on October 16th at 10:19 p.m., recorded in the House chamber. The chamber fell completely silent. In the conversation, one person asks, "When will the money come?" And the person on the other end responds, "It'll be in the account within 2 days." Greene's face turned pale. This recording has been forwarded to the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. Because if this is true, we're not just talking about vote selling here, but also defrauding constituents. Greene suddenly stood up. You can't prove any of it. Crockett smiled. Marjorie, it doesn't require me to prove anything. It just requires transparency. And right now, it's certain that you're far from being transparent. The video of Crockett's House speech went viral on social media. The hashtag #CrockettGreene hashtag was used in 2.3 million tweets in just 2 hours. Media organizations immediately sprang into action. CNN. Shock accusations from Crockett to Greene. Fox News. Democrats target Greene. MSNBC. Vote-selling scandal rocks Congress. But most importantly was the reaction from Georgia's local media. The Rome News-Tribune newspaper's headline summarized everything. Did our representatives sell US out? ***, the number of phone calls to Greene's office exceeded 5,000 per day. Now they weren't just angry, but felt betrayed. Betty Rodriguez from Dalton. I voted Republican for 30 years. But for the first time I feel like my own party sold me out. Jim Patterson from Rome. We trusted Greene. She told us I'm not a Washington corrupt. Turns out she was the biggest corrupt of all. But the most painful comment came from Cedartown. Textile worker Ann Miller. While I'm thinking about how to pay my daughter's college expenses, Greene is counting money behind closed doors. This is injustice. ***, under media pressure, Greene went on the offensive. She posted harsh messages from her own social media accounts. Jasmine Crockett and the radical left are doing everything they can to smear me. I made the right decision for Georgia. They can't digest this. But this defense was far from convincing constituents. Because the documents Crockett had presented were undeniably clear, Greene's campaign team tried a different strategy. They tried to explain Webb's money transfers as paying off campaign debt. But this explanation also contained inconsistencies. ***, after Greene's evasive answers, Crockett made her second move. She filed a formal complaint with the House Ethics Committee. The petition included these issues: 1. Suspicion of vote selling; 2. Campaign finance irregularities; 3. Deceiving constituents; 4. Illegal agreements with lobbying groups. This isn't just Representative Greene's personal problem, Crockett said in her press release. This is an attack on the representation system that is the heart of American democracy. As Crockett's investigation deepened, the landscape before her became even uglier. Greene's vote change wasn't an isolated incident. Webb's financial records showed similar transfers had occurred in the past 6 months. Sarah Chun had found new documents. Jasmine, look at Greene's vote on farmer subsidies last month. Same pattern again. Records showed $180,000 from Agribusiness Consortium to Webb, $150,000 from Webb to Greene, Greene voting against farmers, and even before that, $420,000 from Energy Giants lobby to Webb, $380,000 from Webb to Greene, Greene voting against green energy projects. The pattern was clear. Greene was systematically selling votes. A week after Crockett's complaint, the FBI stepped in. The Federal Financial Crimes Unit seized Greene's accounts. Special Agent Sarah Martinez, leading the investigation, said at a media briefing, "We're evaluating the evidence we have. If there are federal crimes here, no one has immunity." Greene's lawyers characterized the investigation as politically motivated, but new documents found by the FBI made the situation even worse for Greene. Scene 19. New documents. Documents found in FBI raids expanded the conspiracy even further. 1. Webb had a secret offshore account. 2. Money was being transferred from this account to various Congress members. 3. Greene was just one figure in the system. The most shocking finding was emails from Webb's personal computer. One email contained these lines: "MTG is ready. Next target is Johnson on the Agriculture Committee. We've set aside $500,000 for him. The Georgia Project is expanding." The Georgia Project. This was an operation targeting not just Greene, but the entire Georgia delegation. Now Crockett realized she was facing not just Greene's hypocrisy, but systemic corruption. "This isn't just one representative's personal ambition," Crockett said in her CNN interview. "This is lobbying group's operation to buy American politics." Evidence in Crockett's hands showed that 23 different lobby groups were transferring money to Congress members through Webb. This operation had been ongoing for the past 18 months, not just Greene, but at least 7 other Congress members were involved. "The American people have the right to know their representatives aren't for sale," Crockett continued. Under FBI investigation and media pressure, Greene's position became unsustainable. Even her own party began to react. A Republican Party spokesperson made a cautious statement: "If these allegations are true, Representative Greene must be held accountable." Even Greene's closest supporters began to distance themselves. Georgia's party organization announced it had launched an investigation into Greene. The biggest blow came from Greene's own constituency. The city councils of Dalton, Rome, and Cedartown passed resolutions demanding Greene's resignation. The scandal Crockett exposed wasn't limited to political circles. It created trust issues among ordinary Americans. According to a poll by the University of Georgia, 73% of voters thought representatives were taking money from lobbyists. 81% of voters argued this should be illegal. 67% of voters stated their trust in the political system had decreased. "This isn't just Greene's problem," said Maria Santos, a teacher in Atlanta. "This is the whole system's problem. How can we be sure others aren't for sale too?" In the midst of the scandal, Crockett didn't just diagnose the problem but also proposed solutions. She prepared a bill called the American Transparency Act. The main provisions of this law were: 1. All Congress members' financial transactions would be public within 24 hours. 2. Meetings with lobby groups would be recorded. 3. Voting reasons would be justified in writing. 4. Automatic investigation would be launched in case of violations. Democracy is not a commodity to be bargained for in dark rooms, Crockett said while introducing the bill. The people's representatives must be accountable to the people. Cornered, Greene tried one last move. She launched a personal attack campaign targeting Crockett. "Jasmine Crockett is smearing me to advance her radical agenda," Greene wrote on social media. "She doesn't represent true American values." This attack backfired, because now the public had begun questioning Greene's character. Someone who had sold out her own constituents. Giving character lessons to others seemed insincere. As details of the FBI operation leaked to the public, the magnitude of the scandal became even clearer. Special Agent Martinez's statement included these details. The operation, coordinated by Marcus Webb, collected a total of $23.6 million from 47 different lobby groups over the past 2 years. This money was distributed to 31 Congress members from 12 different states. The most shocking finding was Webb's vote price list. $50,000 for simple bills, $200,000 for important economic decisions, $500,000 for constitutional amendments, 750,000 for defense budget votes. This is one of the largest political corruption operations in American history. Martinez continued. After the FBI raid on her office, Greene became completely isolated. Even former allies distanced themselves. Her own staff began to resign. Greene's former media advisor, Amanda King, wrote in her resignation letter, "I'm being expected to defend things I can no longer defend. My conscience won't allow it." Greene's final television interview was a complete disaster. In the interview with Tucker Morrison on Fox News, Morrison, Representative Greene, what do you say about these allegations? Greene, I only did what was right for Georgia. Morrison, but how do you explain the $620,000 transfer? Greene, this is a campaign finance matter. Morrison, but isn't the timing very strange? Right before the vote? Greene, I'm ending this interview. And she got up and left. On live television, in Georgia's 14th district, constituents began to organize. A movement called Send Greene Away was formed. The movement's leader, retired teacher Dorothy Williams, said, "I've lived in this district for 30 years. I've never been this ashamed. Greene tarnished our name." A protest in downtown Rome exceeded 3,000 people. Signs read, "Greene sold Georgia. Our representative became a lobbyist. Thank you, Crockett." The most striking image was the speech by 78-year-old farmer Robert Miller. "I fought in the Korean War for this country. Now I learn my representative was selling me out. This is unacceptable." Crockett's success resonated not just in America but in world media. Prestigious publications like BBC, Guardian, Le Monde began pursuing Crockett for interviews. In her interview on BBC World Service, Crockett said, "This isn't just an American problem. Democracy is under threat everywhere. Lobby groups use similar tactics in every country." Crockett ranked in the top 5 on The Guardian's Woman of the Year list. The article used these expressions. Jasmine Crockett single-handedly unraveled an entire corruption network. This is one of the most important political courages of the 21st century. Marcus Webb's trial began in federal court. The prosecution brought these charges against Webb: 1, establishing an organized crime syndicate; 2, buying public officials with bribes; 3, tax evasion; 4, money laundering. Webb's lawyer claimed his client was innocent, but the evidence presented by the FBI was very strong. 2,347 emails, 156 hours of recorded phone conversations, records from 89 different bank accounts, 12 hours of security camera footage. The most striking evidence was this email Webb sent to Greene: "MTG ready. Deal completed. We'll vote tomorrow. $50 OK transferred." After 6 months of legal proceedings, the results were announced. First, Webb was sentenced to 15 years in prison. 8 other people in the corruption network also received sentences. Second, Greene was expelled from the House. A separate case was filed against her in Georgia. Third, the American Transparency Act was passed 387 to 48. Fourth, 31 Congress members resigned. A major cleanup occurred in American politics. So what about the question we asked that night? Why had MTG backed down at the most critical moment? The answer was simple: self-interest. Greene had to choose between her constituents' interests and her own personal interests. And she had chosen her own pocket. But the real hero of this story was Jasmine Crockett. She hadn't just exposed documents, but also produced solutions that would change the system. A year after the scandal, the Democratic Transparency Foundation, established by Crockett, became operational. The foundation's purpose was to prevent similar corruption cases. The foundation's first project was the representative tracking system. In this system, every Congress member's voting rationales are recorded. Meetings with lobby groups are made transparent. Financial transactions are tracked in real time. Citizens can report abnormal situations. Democracy means transparency. Crockett spoke at the foundation's opening ceremony. And transparency is now possible thanks to technology. Meanwhile, Greene completely withdrew from politics while legal proceedings continued. She began living in her home in Georgia, hiding from the press. One of her former supporters, speaking anonymously, said, "Marjorie has changed. She's no longer aggressive like before. It's like she's experiencing regret." Greene rarely posts on her own social media accounts. And her posts are very different from before. "We need to learn from mistakes. I made very big mistakes." This was Greene's most open admission of regret in public.